can you explain to us in the most like basic form, what is biohacking?
Biohacking is anything you're choosing to personally do to move your needle forward in your health. I want my body to stay in a harmonized state as much as possible.
Some people like have to replenish in different ways, and I think that's why the biohacking is so interesting, because it's like you're able to use this technology to spoil yourself.
This puts the physical and the energetic body into states of coherence. And so we see people have these amazing results.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rich in Soul podcast. I'm your host, Nati Restrepo, and today I have the honor to be sitting with the biohacking mama. Okay, Colette Schnabel. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy you're here.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here and chat with you.
Yes, you are doing so much cool stuff, like stuff that I'm trying to wrap my head around still. And I think the most exciting part is that I have a friend now that can explain to me what the heck biohacking truly is. But before we even jump into all that, I want to talk about how we met.
Yeah.
Like, you came in for an aura reading and you were telling me, okay, so that you ended up wanting to do the pink room.
Yeah, no, I came across your profile and obviously the house of vibration. Like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
And it was so gorgeous and lush. And then you had this event that you were doing in Miami and like this vintage apartment with like, it was like Barbie-esque. I was like, oh my God, what is this? Why can't I go to this?
Why couldn't you go?
I think I had something pre-booked and I couldn't change it, or I was out of town.
And then you ended up coming for an aura reading.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so cool. So for those of you guys who don't know, I do aura readings, and that was actually something that I built. So I started the aura reading as a way to, when I was leaving my previous job, I knew that I needed to have some kind of way to get in front of more people at kind of like an entry point, right? Mm-hmm. And so I didn't teach yoga, but I knew that I wanted to teach on us about subjects that were more spiritual, wellness, right? And I didn't teach yoga, and I didn't want to use yoga as a method. I didn't want to be a Pilates instructor, because that's the way I saw it. I was like, these yoga teachers have this opportunity where they're getting free clients in front of them. They're getting an audience 3 to 4 times a day, 20 people. The yoga studio is serving them these people, and they're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I don't want to do that, but I am Master Reiki. I love Reiki. I love the aura. I've been studying the aura for such a long time. And so I found this piece of technology, and I thought it was a beautiful way to be that middle ground, that middle point for people who are like the skeptics, but they know that their frequency is real. Like, they can feel that. You can feel. I mean, but we're human beings. And that's why I love the technology so much. And so I love that. Would you consider that biohacking is that technology?
Okay. So, when I found you, I had already kind of been in this journey, and I would say, no, I didn't think so in the beginning. Mm-hmm. When I first heard of biohacking, I thought it was big, I work out, big muscles, I'm going to take all these supplements, right? But when I got into the community, I realized how tapped in most of them were. Most of them already knew about, their chakras and their auras, because when I first got into the industry, I was working with a frequency medicine device that actually also read the auric field, but in a different way than what yours does. And so when I found you, it was almost like, and just like you said, you were finding something that was unique to yourself. Mm-hmm. And it was so beautiful, and a way to bring someone in, because, okay, having an aura reading is so cutesy, right? But it was more than just that picture. Mm-hmm. You help break it down and help people see that. Mm. And then when I had the Reiki session with you, I hadn't really experienced a lot of Reiki with people in the past. Actually, maybe I had that one weird.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, we should talk about.
We should talk about that.
Yes. Tell me.
Okay. So,
Geeking out.
How I got into the whole biohacking thing, we're kind of
Yeah.
going to jump all around,
Yes.
is I had chronic pain for years. And I woke up one morning and it was a Sunday and I was like in so much pain. I'm like, babe, I'm going to go to Yellow Green. I'm going to go to the Yellow Green Farmers
Love
Market.
it.
I know they have those massage people there.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh.
So I go.
I love this story. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I go and, it's like the open stalls. They do all the massage. Oh, hey.
Mm-hmm.
And this one guy, he's like, oh, I'm going to do your massage. And he was like doing all the stretching massage and it was great. He's like, can I do some Reiki on you? And I was like, yeah, sure. Still not fully comprehending.
You had never done Reiki before.
I had like one other massage, but also like I wasn't as tapped in yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting there and he was like, kind of put some Reiki into your shoulder. So I'm there in my mind thinking, I'm open to receiving, like be there, like receive his medicine. And I left feeling great. And then, Yellow Green Farmers Market is open air. It's hot in the summertime. So I go home to have a shower. When I'm in the shower, I start to have these visions and see him like tying me up like BDSM. I'm not effing joking right now. And I like freaked out. I was like, what the hell? Like, did he like put like sex energy into my mind? Is that a thing?
Yes. It is. But it's not just any like BDSM.
Like tying me up like pog, like fucking weird.
And what'd you do to cleanse?
I didn't know what to do.
Anything. Yeah.
I didn't know what to do at that time. I had not found another woman that I use now as Reiki outside of working with you.
Yes.
So I was just like, what? And so I like called my girlfriend. She goes, okay, what did you learn from this? Don't get Reiki from a weird man at a farmer's market.
Yes. That's why I want to apologize on behalf of all Reiki attuned masters that is completely unacceptable. And that's why it's so important to do your research. It's so crazy because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm Reiki attuned. I can do Reiki. Or I'm going to get Reiki. I went to an event that they do Reiki. And I'm like, okay, like walk me through it. Or some people go and get Reiki attuned for all levels in one weekend. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the Reiki energy is so powerful. It's not to be taken lightly. Mm-hmm. And that's why your teachers are so important, right? Who you learn from and asking. If you're going to go and receive energy work, you're going to go see a facilitator. I always tell my clients, ask them, who are your teachers? Who are your guides? Because they might be channeling an energy that does not align with you.
Yeah.
And this is even for massage therapists. It's so true. Like you will go to a massage therapist and they'll be like, I threw in a little Reiki. We always at events, we always say like, hey, we're going to do some Reiki. If you don't feel comfortable receiving, put your hand down, your palms facing inwards. Or if you want to receive some Reiki, put your palms up, right? Yeah. It's so important for you to receive that consent. And if you hear that, but it sucks because someone like that totally can jeopardize your your experiences in the future. But I'm so happy that you didn't allow for that to tarnish the whole thing.
Now I am fully aware of what an empathic sponge I am. Because I have worked with so many frequency modalities over the years that, I've peeled back all those layers, right? Yeah. And so now I can get affected or leached into very quickly. Like I was just doing a conference, TCCHE with Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton, a very spiritual community. And I was standing there, sharing the technologies with people. And all of a sudden, my body went, I couldn't turn my head. My best friend was with me. She's like, oh no, what just happened? And I go, I don't know. I have no idea.
You shut down.
Like someone, I was talking to someone, and he was, it didn't give me any form of I should be concerned talking to this person. He was talking about some things that I had no idea he was talking about, like codes coming from Mercury and all those things. And I don't necessarily know a lot of that type of stuff. So I was more like, Okay.
It's so crazy. Like even when I'm doing this podcast, like I can't help it, but when I'm speaking to someone like you to be like, yes, right? Like I'm literally holding back as I'm listening. But the same thing happens like when you're seeing someone speak. I love that you say that because just because you see them on stage, right? And they seem so far away, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that energy you're not consuming that, right? It's not affecting you. Yeah. So imagine, right, with the technologies of our phones, right? We're like literally rapid consuming, like brain rotting.
Yeah.
What is it? They call it the dumps. What is it that they call like there's like a word for like when you're dumping in all this information. There's a word that they're using. If you guys think of the word, drop it in the chat, please, because I don't remember. But it's like hyper consuming this information, and it's like no wonder it's affecting like your nervous system is like shit, right? Or you're going to sleep and you're like for me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a TikTok girl. I'm a TikTok girl. Yeah, Colette, I'm a TikTok
girl. I mean, don't get me wrong. In the middle of the night when I can't sleep, I'm pulling up parasite groups. I'm like, what came out of them? Let me know.
Dude, you have to meet my friend Clarissa. It's so funny. Every time we're at an event or something like that, like I'll see her with a group of people and I'm like, I know what she's talking about. Parasites.
The aliens inside.
Are you into the parasite stuff too?
I mean, I know that they're there. I know they're there, you know.
Okay, how often are you doing cleanses?
I don't. No. I mean, if I were to feel I had symptoms, like I know what symptoms look like if you have an abundance of parasites, and I don't. You know, I have passed them in the past, and I was literally like birthing a freaking alien. I remember I was actually driving back from Miami, and I always had like the worst like feeling in my stomach, and I just felt like I needed to ohm so loud and so deep, and the vibration calmed me down. And then I remember going home to the bathroom, and it was like an alien came out. I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Dude, I've seen the pictures too. I've seen the pictures of these guys. If you haven't gone down the rabbit hole of the parasite cleansing, please do it.
Yeah.
Please do it. You will never be the same. My best friend, I'm telling you, like I get the lecture. Yeah. Every time I see her. She lives in Los Angeles, but every time I see her, I bring her to my retreats and stuff like that. She teaches Kundalini at my retreats. And every time I see her sneaking away with someone, I'm like, I know that the trauma dumping of the parasite cleanse is happening. I'm like,
so it's like part of the community that I'm part of is full of like regenerative health practitioners. They always make you start with like a 3-month full vegan, like regenerative diet. And this one girl was like, "You're so sick, Colette. I can just see you. I'm concerned for your health." And I was like, I feel great. I'm vibrant. And I was just at Dave Asprey's Biohacking conference 2 weeks ago. And there's this one technology called the Firefly. And it's created by Dr. Martin Bales and his father. And it's this technology that you hold on to one copper rod, and then it has like a pulse reader on your finger. So it's like one hand's holding that and the other one's here. And it scans your gut, and it finds any pathogens that arise or anything in there, and it will spike and show you. And he'll know like if it's a liver fluke, if it's, I don't know all their names, all the different types of things. And then they utilize these light wands, like these really powerful lights that have frequency, and they wave it over your gut. And within like one time, it can help people pass these parasites. So I hadn't had an experience in this. I brought him into that documentary, and he scanned me and he's like, "No, you're healthy." And I was like, "I knew it." It's like, "I knew it." He's like, "You don't have any like parasites you got to be concerned about." And so I was there with my friend and her children. It's my brand, Biohacking Mama. I love to teach moms and families different ways to biohack their health. So I was there and teaching this little boy, and he got scanned and they showed a liver fluke on him. Wow. And so we did one little session on him. So there's doctors and people out there that can help you remove these parasites, and you don't necessarily have to go and do all those types of cleansing.
You know what that reminded me of? When I went to Bali, I did a workshop in Bali where every single day we were learning from different healers, right? They have a whole bunch of modalities. Also super interesting. You'll have to come with me. And so each day we would go and visit a different healer. And Some were more of channelers, some were more on the body workers, some were mediums, some were, straight up chosen by, the public, right?
Yeah.
And so there was one healer that we went to go see. I was with another student. It was two people, me, another student that was from, she was Greek. A beautiful older woman, and then my teacher, right? And we went to go see him, and he lays us down. This is like in the middle of Bali. There's no address can even get there. I'm like, where am I? I don't know. It's fine. He lays you out on the like concrete floor. Okay, nothing fancy, nothing beautiful, and just a really beautiful smile. I mean, this man has like, in Bali, they smoke a lot of cigarettes. Yeah. So like, it's teeth. I'm like, I don't know who this man is, but he is so happy and so sweet that I'm going to trust him. He lays you down, and through your fingers, right? He basically uses like the pressure points of the fingers, and depending on which finger he sees a reaction on your body that is attached to a specific area in your body that's needing help. And so when he did it to me, right, he used like a Q-tip, almost like a sharp little, not a needle, but something pointy on each finger. And when he did mine, he was like, oh, he's like, you're healthy. And I was like, he said, you're empty. And I'm like, empty? And I like look at my teacher because he's our translator, and he's like, empty means good. He's like, empty means you don't have any quote unquote negative energies, even though I don't really believe in that like that. And so the next girl came, and she was like, she did hers, and he's like, hey, I see something. He's like, I see something in your gut area. And he goes, how many times do you eat a day? And she goes, I only eat once or 2 times a day. And he's like, okay, and what does your meal look like? And she was like, salmon and veggies and And he goes, okay. He's like, why do you only eat 2 times a day? And she goes, well, I'm trying to be healthy. She's like, I want to be healthy. Beautiful woman, by the way. I want to be healthy. And he looks at her and he goes, oh, so you're fake healthy. And she's like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you see, you see her? She's big girl, but she's actually healthy. You're fake healthy. You're skinny, but you're fake healthy. He goes, that is causing negative energy in you. So I was like, oh my God. He's like, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. I'm like, okay. Wow, somebody finally is telling me. I've always been overweight my whole life. My whole life. And I'm like, oh my God, guys. Okay, I get it. But it's so interesting. That was like the first time ever that someone was like, okay, like if this is the method, right? And something that I learned too that's very interesting in Bali is the area of giving back to yourself. Some people like have to replenish in different ways. And I think that's why the biohacking is so interesting, because it's like you're able to use this technology to spoil yourself. I wanted to ask you too, you were mentioning about the rods. And if you kind of like study and you look back, right, these technologies have been used since the beginning of time.
Absolutely. I mean, like even what you were just talking about, he was doing with your fingers. So all of your meridians come out your fingers. That's the ends of your energy points, so the super highways of your body, right? And so that's why there is so much that can be read within that way. And if you think of the ancients, and our ancestors and things like that, of how they recognized stuff, right? But then also, if we think of like, we know that like the Egyptians, right? They were huge, tall people. Why was that? Well, back then with our ancestors, they didn't have everything that was affecting the biophotons, the light energy that the sun provides to us. We are not so tall anymore because we have the 5G, we have the metals in the air, all these things that are affecting the sun, the actual life force, the biophotons that we need to receive to heal us within that way. And then if you think of actually like frequency medicine, I mean, they were using frequencies back in the Egyptian time and all that as well. And it was a really more like, utilized in a technology form back into like the early 1900s with Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, Dr. Royal Rife. And then we had the what's it called? Well, I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm gonna have to think about it, what it's called. But there was the act. It's something act. I can't think of. I always talk about this act of 1910. I'll have to come back and think of
1910. We'll go back to 1910.
It's gonna sit in my head in a minute, but it's a specific guy's name, and I just can't think of it right now. But basically, what happened was Andrew Carnegie and J.D. Rockefeller, they brought back all of the patents for pharmaceuticals from Europe. And the Flexner Report, got it.
How was she supposed to remember that, girl? The girl. I still get, what is it, the Flexner?
So the Flexner Report of 1910.
Okay.
So this is what changed the medical system in America forever. This is when Western medicine was made. So what the Flexner Report was that they said no more holistic medicine, no more frequency medicine, no more naturopathic medicine. And also they closed every single African-American college except for 2 in America. Only white men going forward in lab coats. And if you were using any frequency technology, because they were back then using stuff that was blasting cancer cells and helping people heal, right? Well, Americans came and did the American thing and realized, well, I'm going to make money out of all these people, and brought in pharmaceuticals. And then even, if you think of like the sisters that, they were doing all the gynecology like stuff on, have you heard of those women?
Yeah.
Right? What they were doing to them back then. So that's what really birthed the Western medicine, was in 1910. And it wasn't back until really like the late 70s, 80s that frequencies, technology stuff started to come again, but was still very, very suppressed. But here we are in this digital age, right? The information age that we live in now, the age of Aquarius, and it's not being shut down anymore, right? We are here for it. And with the social media, all this amazing stuff that we have access to, we get to share it now. And I think that's why the biohacking industry is so growing so rapidly, that it's predicted by, I believe, 2037 to be almost $38 trillion.
Wow.
So everyone wants to have a piece of the pie.
Everybody wants to invest in biohacking, know? And as you're talking, I'm like, I think of myself right before you got here. I was like stressed all day, right? I'm like going back to back on meetings. And right before I meet and see any person, any client in person, I always do my little ritual, right? And right before you got here, I took one of my Tibetan bowls. I literally put it over my head, and I just started giving myself medicine, right? Right before you got here, I start hitting, and these are incredible things that I have learned from my own teachers, my own guides. I turn on my house. I start hitting every single bell, every single chime, I light every single candle, right? It's like your own ritual. These are all these, you're turning on these frequencies. And even with people, I always tell people, I was talking, it's something that I thought about today too, is I was thinking about people who are going through drug addiction. And I don't know if you've ever experienced a loved one go through addiction.
I mean, I was addicted. I was addicted
Really?
to cocaine and alcohol for most of my 20s. And
Really,
yeah.
Colette?
Yeah. That's part of like my journey is I moved out 14 days after I turned 18. I was still in high school. And I just felt I was raised by my dad and my stepmom, and now I know that they love me a lot. I was raised very sheltered, right? As you realize as you get older. And so I move out. I'm like, I'm going to do it by myself, right? And so I barely graduated. I did graduate, and I was living in Minnesota. They moved me there right before my senior year of high school. And so I moved out. And then I had a friend that was like, hey, I'm going to go live in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. You should come. We're going to go for 3 months. We're going to go in the high season, make a lot of money. I was like, okay, absolutely. Sign me up. Let's go. Yeah. Well, I stayed for 2 years. And at that point, I had never done like any like cocaine at all. And I was very much against it because my older brother had an addiction. And I saw what it was doing to his life. Well, the first night I arrive, that wonderful powder gets put in front of me. And that went in about 10 years of my life, basically.
What?
And yeah, you know, and I had a major issue with that. And, you know, as I have now gone through my healing journey and all of this, and I recognized I was just a master escape artist. That's what I was truly doing, right? I was escaping as many ways as I could. I was over-sexualizing myself, you know, getting drunk as much as possible, getting high all the time. There'd be like days, like 5 days of no sleeping, right? Like I'm surprised I can still freaking breathe.
Remember things, I know.
Yeah. I'm surprised I never got pregnant, never had an STD.
Wow.
God was watching over me. He knew
Truly.
I had something more better to do in my life later on.
Truly.
And so how I kind of came into this whole biohacking world, and it's interesting you're talking about your rituals with the sound, because music has always been a very big piece of my life, even as a young girl. I used to sing competitively, like music was my safe spot. And I lost all that as I continued to lose myself. And so when I became a mom, I still struggled with my alcohol a lot. And my husband, he's a yacht captain. I also worked in the yachting industry for 10 years before I became a mom.
You give me that vibe. I don't know. Like there's something about you that gives me St. Thomas vibes, that gives me the yacht life. Okay.
Right? Yeah. Work hard, party even harder. I'm very, very good at that. You know,
I love it.
very good at
love
that.
it.
And so I you know, after I became a mom, you know, I was living here in Florida. I had no family. My friends were still in yachting, and I'm just like, who am I now? You know, my whole life was gone. My husband was gone away working for months at a time. And when I had my second child, so my son was about 3, so I started to develop this chronic pain, debilitating pain in my neck and shoulders. And my anxiety was getting so bad, to the point like I couldn't even be at like house parties with my friends. I thought people were talking about me. I was having all these phantom feelings in my body. And like I was very holistic at this point. I had already started my wellness journey through food as medicine. And I would have to take myself to the hospital because I'm like, there has to be something wrong. Thousands and thousands of dollars later, they're just like, it's just anxiety, like ultrasounds, all these things, and made me feel absolutely crazy. And so I had a mentor. She was Australian. And she was like, Colette, what do you know about traumas? She's like, do you understand and know how childhood traumas manifest with inside the body? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I grew up like chakra, aura, you're going to hell. We ain't talking about that. No.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Washington State and Louisiana, like half and half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was, I moved a little bit.
Mix. That's like a huge difference, right?
Yes. Yeah. Extreme difference. And, but I'm very thankful to have both cultures of America in my life.
And the St. Thomas Caribbean is like,
yes.
She's a Caribbean gal.
But it's interesting. Water has always been in my life. That's a very interesting piece. And I didn't think about this for the longest time. Like I always lived by the water in Washington State. Louisiana, you know, you kind of live by that big lake.
Swamp.
Yeah, swamp. And I lived by Lake Pontchartrain. And then working aboard the, you know, chasing summers, all those things. My son, I had a water birth.
Beautiful.
You know, live here right by the beach. It's like water,
Has
I didn't
always
realize
been.
is it's a very cleansing thing for me. And as we know, it holds a lot of memory
And
now.
we'll get into it.
Right?
I know y'all are wondering what that is, and we'll get into it. Don't worry. You know, I want to piggyback off on the thing that you mentioned about you know, your own addictions, because the frequency thing, that I was thinking about this, and I love that you mentioned that you can reflect and look at your relationship with your dad and your stepmom and realize things, because what I was thinking earlier today was I also grew up very rebellious. I think that I I'm very grateful. The Holy Spirit really was walking me through. I didn't battle any addictions per se in terms of like drugs, but I definitely did a lot of drugs in my life. And then that career is really what I think saved me. Right. Was working for this person at 21. It really saved me. And it was an extremely different,
I bet.
Like it went from like dropping tabs like every weekend to like alcohol is really bad for you, right? I mean, it still got to a party, but it was more low key. But I was thinking today about all the friends that I lost, right, through their addictions, and then the ones that actually made it out of it. And I was thinking about a few friends of mine that it's not until recently that we completely drifted apart. And it was because I realized that they never did anything to serve for me, right? There was no value that they gave me in my life. Instead, I was feeling in the end, I was feeling used. I was feeling like, man, I was there for you for all your addictions, for all these things, your overdoses, dealing with your family, being worried about you, doing all these things, or even a friend that was going through, psychosis, right? I was constantly worried about them. But what happens is that frequency thing where you and that person are not on the same frequency, and that person doesn't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
That person has no idea that you were worried about them, that you were praying for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it made me think and realize of even, okay, yes, maybe I didn't go through addictions in that sense of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's been plenty of moments in our lives where we've gone through dark periods where we're freaking ungrateful little fucks.
Yeah. Well, and also, addiction can be so many things.
Yes.
Right. And also like what you're saying right now, as far as the frequency goes, because when you start to raise your frequency, when you start to heal, when you start to attend to become a higher version of yourself, you can't go back down.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just start to resonate out. Right.
You're not speaking in the same language.
No.
And it's not that they're doing anything bad. It's not that you're doing anything bad. So you guys are not communicating. You guys are on two different stations.
Yep.
And that will happen in relationships too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, I'm like, man, I need to go back to the times in my life where I was a little bit not on my best frequency, right? On a lower vibrational frequency, and reflect and see who was actually there for me.
Yeah.
Because I was clearly ungrateful at that time. And I need to go back and see who was praying for me at that moment and reach out and just give thanks for that period in your life that they were there for you. And I don't know, I just kind of like went down that rabbit hole of like, wow, man, the energetic thing, like this radio station that we tune into and what we consume from television. And that's why I love like the red light therapy and the cold plunging. These are not new. Yes, there's modern versions of it now.
Yeah.
But there's this, like, there has always been water programming. We've been, our ancestors blessed water, right? If there's a trick that I do like every morning, right? Not a trick, but a little thing that I do, right? I program my water. Yeah. Well, now, we program our waters this way, right? Yeah. So I take my water bottle. I take my water bottle. I bless it with some Reiki, bless it. This water right here today, when I take this sip of this from this water bottle today, this is going to allow for me to reach out to all the clients that I need to reach out to. Not only that, but to resonate with them. Okay, perfect. All the things that I want to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do some ads. I'm going to do all the stuff that I want to do. And boom, when I drink this water, this is my magic water. I'm going to achieve all those things.
That's right.
Talk to me about can we answer this in like the most simplest question, actually? Because this is like where I wanted to start, actually. But me and you are just, we can go on for hours. You can tell. So. I think we're going to have to do part 2, guys. But can you explain to us in the most like basic form, what is biohacking?
Okay. Well.
You're like, let's see if I can get it out in one sentence.
Well, I mean, biohacking is anything you're choosing to personally do to move your needle forward in your health, right? Like you said, that could just be waking up early and going to look at the sun. That could be you doing yoga. That could be you waking up and doing a gratitude journal. All of this is things that are helping you in that way. You could go to the other extreme and do all of the testing. You could wear all of the trackers. I mean, all of those things, right? I'm a very simplistic biohacker. Yes, I use some pretty cool modalities, but the things that I choose to invest my money in are things that put my body back into a state of harmonization. Biohacking is a very masculine word. And so I really love—
Why is it so masculine?
Hack, like you're hacking into something, right? We want harmony. We're women. We want to be in flow. So I love the word bioharmonizing, but bioharmonizing mama didn't really hit the tone, nor did it hit into that $38 trillion.
It's true. Yeah, we gotta jump on that bandwagon, girl.
You gotta like be you gotta make a brand.
Yes.
So, but the bioharmonize it. I want my body to stay in a harmonized state as much as possible, right? And so, like, I'm big with the water. The red light is great. The frequencies are great. But like you said, you can biohack with your sound bowls.
Yes.
That is biohacking. It's the most ancient form.
Yes.
That they've been doing for thousands of years. Same with getting Reiki. That is biohacking. Mm-hmm. You are hacking the energy field of somebody.
My Reiki practitioners, you are biohackers. You are part of this 38 trillion industry.
Yeah. Yes, right? If you're helping someone achieve that next level of themselves, that's what it is. Really, right? You don't have to take 20 different supplements a day. No, thank you. I think I take 2 to 3 things pill-wise a day.
What do you take every day?
Well, okay, so I take female beef organs,
Really?
fallopian tubes, ovaries, all those things that I'm not going to go and cut that shit up and cook it.
No. Me neither, girl. No, but let me know when you do.
Yeah. I got a tongue in my freezer and I'm like, oh no.
Do you really?
Yeah. I bought a quarter cow and the first thing I opened up when it was delivered, I'm like, oh no, a tongue? I'm like, oh, not yet. I'm not quite there yet.
Oh my God, Colette.
I'll bring it for your dog.
Oh, but I love that.
Oh my God. So, so I do that. I love my microdose psilocybin, so I don't do it every day. I kind of go in and out of that. But again, like you said, blessing to your water, I bless and I give intention when I do this. And I do that less now. I think, as I have really opened up my brain within certain ways. I had to do it for a little bit for a while as I was moving through my healing journey and, regaining the strength of, overcoming the anxiety and my depression.
Biohacking has helped you tremendously in your through your depression for sure.
100%. And I used to take over 20 different types of supplements, and now I'm like, no, do I wake up feeling good? Right? Am I unwell? If I am unwell, then I can go and figure something out. But it's for the most part, do you wake up and feel good? Or is there a thing you should be worried about? Is your hair falling out? Okay, then maybe you should do some testing or something like that, right? Are my nails brittle and something like that? Okay, your body shows you signs.
Yeah.
Your skin shows you signs. Your poop shows you signs.
Parasites?
Yeah. Everything is showing you a sign. And if you tap in and become aware of how you're feeling, there's great people out there. And that's, for me, it's I'm not a practitioner. I barely graduated high school. But what I do love to do is become a sponge for the science. And I love to take what I learned from the experts and break it down into easy, consumable information for the everyday woman, everyday family, for them to oh, okay. And maybe I pique their interest. Maybe the one weird thing that I share with you guys today, you'll be like, oh, okay, let's dive a little bit deeper in that.
Yeah.
I'm the woman who's got a guy or a gal that I can connect you with. Basically.
I love that you said that. And it's so true. And I think a lot of women feel intimidated by hearing biohacking because they feel that it's super male dominated. And it's so true that the hack in the bio makes it so masculine. Yeah. And it kind of drifts you away from wanting to learn more. But biohacking is bioharmony.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck on that. That's so
and
beautiful.
There's a lot of even these expert women in the space that are still very, very masculine in their way. I was at another conference a couple months ago and there was a panel of women. 4 out of the 5 were all for hormone replacement therapy. You could tell that they're shooting up the Botox all up in their faces, all these things.
That's what I see too, yeah.
And that's fine. If that's what you guys want to do, that's what you do. And that's their choice. It's totally fine. I'm a very holistic woman. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to love myself as I age. And then one of the other women, her name is Alyssa Vitti. She's the woman who developed cycle syncing. Have you heard of that before?
Yes.
She's up there. I believe she's 48 years old, still breastfeeding her 4-year-old, still fully menstruating. But this woman is fully dedicated to supporting her natural infradian clock that a woman has, because we don't have the same cycle as a man, right? We work very, very differently. And if you can embrace that and support your body in that way, you can be vibrant for a very long time. This woman eats a pound of vegetables a day. I'm not one of those biohackers that is going to do that. No, so, but good for her, right? And she's up there glowing, vibrant, dewy skin, supple skin, right? And she's like, you know what? Maybe after I'm done breastfeeding, after I'm done menstruating, maybe I would consider hormone therapy replacement. But I also recently just met this other doctor, Dr. Golda. She's in her 70s, vibrant firecracker of a lady. She lives here in Miami. Actually, she could potentially be someone great to connect you with. Mm-hmm. She now has this new hormone testing. It's not new, but hormone testing for women. And unlike when a typical blood draw that you would go to get your panels done, that's you in that moment when that blood is drawn, right? But again, we have a 24-hour cyclical clock that our hormones are fluctuating throughout the day at different times. So this is a saliva test. You take it multiple times throughout the day. And then she's also testing your amino acids, and she's created a holistic plant-based hormone replacement cream. Yeah.
And
so
she's
I'm
here in Miami?
Here in Miami. So I'm about to do my own testing with that to see where I'm at, because I'm 38 years young and beautiful. I have just started to recognize I am having some shifts. And what I noticed is the day after my cycle, literally like 24 hours after, a migraine starts to set in. Okay, so I'm like, okay, what is my body showing? Look, I have goosebumps right now because it literally was happening before this afternoon because I just finished yesterday. And I had one of my hydrogen tablets, which I'm excited to share a little bit with you on that, because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to come and talk with you and to be as present as I would like to be.
Because of,
and I was grumpy.
You're like, I was in a grumpy mood.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh.
Would you be able to tell that she was in a grumpy mood before coming in here? Literally ray of sunshine. I can't even imagine you grumpy. I want to ask you too, something that I noticed within like the biohacking space that I think is my favorite part. And it's that and this is like everything that Rich and Soul is about, is that both the very businessy corporate hacking guy can tap into biohacking and sit under a red light, go to the cold plunge, go to the sauna, and so can the very spiritual baddie also. Like, you can meet that person in the cold plunge. Like, in a biohacking facility, you will see both of those type of humans in that same space. Why do you think that everyone seems to be so attracted to it?
Well, because they look at not just the physical body. When you look at the physical and the energetic body and realize they have to be in a coherent state, that's when you are fully optimized, right? The goal is to be optimized. It's not to just have, oh, your labs are normal. I don't want normal labs. I want fucking optimized labs, right? And so, and same goes to the tapping into the spirituality and to the vulnerabilism, like especially for men, right? Men don't sit in community enough. Men are not as tapped in and to be open and vulnerable, right? But you do see a lot more of that in the biohacking space.
Yeah, it's like the gateway for them. I know.
I'm always like to my husband, I'm like, just go to the men's circles. Go. He's an Australian ex-rugby player. He's, man.
So your husband's Australian. Oh,
how's this funny story? I'm going to tell you. So when I was a little girl, I used to collect koalas.
Really?
So random. Like, I had a huge stuffed animal collection of koalas. I called it in from a very young age. I was a manifestor and I didn't even know it.
I can see you with an Australian. Like, I'm telling you, girl, you're giving Hawaiian tropic. Like, I love it. I love it. I think it's so true. I always, same thing I tell my partner. I'm like, babe, I can see you leading these circles. Like, come on. And he's like, I honestly admire so much the way that they actually go upon their healing journey. Like, those men that actually do take initiative. Like, every time they come to my retreats or they do coaching, one of my clients told me, he's like, nah, like, men are healing too. We're just not like screaming about it, we're we're on our journey too, trust me. And I'm like, I know, but like, more men need to know that it's okay. But I think it's so beautiful, this this wave of consciousness and understanding that, well, let me ask you, do you think that biohacking is a luxury or do you think it's a necessity?
That's a very good question. And that's one thing that I really try to share with as much as I can on my platform, because I did think it was like that. You know, the Dave Asprey Biohacking Conference, the average income is about $300,000 a year. I am not there yet. I will be one day. I'm calling that in, right? But, and so that makes it seem unattainable. You look at like someone like Brian Johnson, right? This man is, you know, doing 200,000, or I don't forget how much he did, of stem cells within his body and reversed his age by all these years. But I want an everyday family to know that a health optimization should actually start before you decide to get pregnant. And it's a lifestyle you choose to do with your young children. This comes down to more of, you know, talking about, you know, the food supply, what we eat, right? My children read labels. They want to have all those fun, you know, there's a reason why all of like the fun, colorful things are on the height of children at a grocery store for a reason. And they'll say, Mommy, I want this. Okay, I'm like, let's turn it around. Can you read what's in the back?
Well,
and they're like, I'm like, right? You know, and so I think it is a necessity. I think it should be, that's how life is supposed to be and how it was.
yes.
And we've come in and done the man things and materialized, done all the things. And even in America, you know, we're so consumer orientated, right? There's the coolest hacks, coolest toys out there at this biohacking space. We don't need to have them all, right? There's like biohacking studios and things like that for if you want to go and try these things, right? That's why you can go and find a practitioner that has access to these things if you are unwell and need that more so. Because a lot of the times these big conferences are for those types of facilities, right? So like what would someone want to have at their home?
A cold plunge.
A cold plunge, you think?
No.
I mean, maybe I think that's a luxury.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it shouldn't.
No.
Right.
You can put your face in a bowl of ice water
So
to do the same thing that a cold plunge will do to you. Okay. I think a cold plunge is a luxury choice. Red light therapy. You and I are very fortunate we live here close to the beach, right? So not everybody has access to something like that, you know, or if they live somewhere where it's cold most of the year or they don't get as much sun, right? A red light potentially could be a good investment for a family. My daughter doesn't always wake up in a great mood. So we put her in front of the red light because immediately it boosts that dopamine and serotonin in the body. The hydrogen. Water.
The water.
Yeah. So a good filter in the house, extremely important. The water that we have today is not serving us. We have the pharmaceuticals that get flushed down the drain. We have the pesticides run off into the water. We have the treatment plants. So then the fluoride, the chlorine, they say they're taking it out of Florida's water. Who knows when that's going to happen, right? So tap water is not serving us. And if you actually think of, well, you shower every day, that water permeates your skin, the largest organ you have, right? So, I mean, a house system, that's a lot of money. Like,
what are your go-to
Your
go-to biohacking tools?
Well, the foundation I put every single family on first is hydrogen water. That's what this is right here, guys.
So I'm super excited, guys, because I just got this really cool water. And like I was mentioning, the blessing of the waters is so important. The frequency of the water. And what I really like about this is that I'm going to be testing this also with the aura analysis and the chakra analysis, because you're able to put in this frequency in through that. And I'm super excited. And I think these are these exciting things that I always say, like, coaching, mentoring, therapy, those are privileges.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
They're privileges. But if you are able to do them, do them.
Yeah.
Right? Use those resources, but use them for good.
Right.
If you have yes, totally. The fact that we even have clean water, there's people in the world that don't even have access to water, clean water.
Yes.
Okay. If you have access to clean water, it's like saying, okay, You get a bucket of unfiltered water that has fluoride and that has all these things and da 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 da. And then you have a bucket of hydrogen water with like that's been blessed, that's been programmed.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to take?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you use the resources that God is giving you? Right? And so if I can invest in myself in any way, then I'm going to do them. And this, I kind of got stuck in the conversation when we were talking about the luxury and the necessity, right? And one of the biggest things with House of Vibration is I help high performers. That's our mission, right? To help high performers.
Yes.
To help people who are stressed all day, who've taken the initiative and the responsibility to provide for their families. But what I was noticing when I was helping these business owners and these high performers is that they weren't enjoying the fruits of their labor. They were getting home frustrated and wanting to come back to a place where they felt good, and sometimes we build businesses out of survival and it's not truly our passion.
Yeah.
And I think we all get to a certain point when we do build our businesses where you get an opportunity to reevaluate and decide, what do I want to do with all these resources that I've built?
Yeah.
Do you want to just stay the same? Do you want to just continue to be miserable and provide for your family, but you're miserable? No, it's not what it's about, right? So you pick and choose what it is that you want to do with those resources. And so, for example, I'm picking and choosing when I quit my job, my corporate job where I was making $500,000 a year by 25 years old, right? I remember that someone told me, they were like, Nat, you're going to have to do some sacrifices, right? Like when you quit because you're starting your business. And they were like, what are some things that you can cut? And so I was like, okay, well, I can cut this, I can cut that. And I remember in there was my education and my coaching. Yeah. And I said, this is one thing I'm not willing to cut.
Yeah.
I am not cutting my coaching program because this is going to help me get to the next level.
Yeah.
I understand that there's some risks. And these are the type of things that I'm willing to invest in.
Yeah.
If it's going to make me better and it's going to give me the opportunity to help those people who don't even have access to clean water, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to tell me more because I'm so excited about this. Tell me about this and how it works and what makes it different from.
Yeah.
I know that there's like another water bottle, but
there's so many out there.
This feels like the best one though. It's so nice. I love it.
Well, let's just talk about like hydrogen in general. So hydrogen used to be the most abundant molecule in the world. Like it was in the air, it was in the water, and again, man came to demand things. And our body naturally is supposed to make hydrogen. And again, we have too much fighting against us to create it. So what does hydrogen do within the body? Well, it's called the miracle molecule or the God molecule. And so when you consume this through water or you breathe it in, it has this innate wisdom to go and find the most oxidative stress and damage within your cells. And unfortunately, the world is 75% chronically dehydrated. And dehydration leads to inflammation, and inflammation is a leading cause of all disease. Well, what causes inflammation? Oxidative stress. I mean, we know how stressed the world is right now. And so when its brilliance as it goes in, it helps to get rid of the bad free radicals within the body, but keeps the good. So it's like a selective antioxidant, because other antioxidants, like, people think that they have to have all those berries, all those things, that gets rid of all of the free radicals. You still need some, right? And because it's so small, it also can go through the blood-brain barrier. Not many things can do that. So then it's supportive for neurological issues like dementia, Alzheimer's, ADHD, autism, brain injuries.
ADHD, girl.
Like all of the things, right? It's anti-cancerous, anti-diabetic. It helps balance people's insulin levels. It has over 3,000 research studies and over 200 disease protocols it can alleviate. So what does that mean? By proper hydration with molecular rich hydrogen water, you can alleviate or postpone over 200 diseases.
Wow.
So think how sick the world is.
Yeah.
Oh, why hasn't America brought this in? They want to keep you sick. So it's even already being used in hospitals in Japan. So this is creating a therapeutic amount of hydrogen. Now, what you want when you are investing your money in a piece of technology, you want to make sure that it's going to last. You want to make sure that it is a certified device. So I've had many clients like, oh yeah, I got a hydrogen device. It's $50 on Amazon. I'm like, well, honey.
Well, honey.
Well, and they're like, it's glass too. I'm like, well, hydrogen is a gas and gases create pressure. And if it was making ample amount of hydrogen in a glass container, it would crack. So that's the first piece that people should look at. You can't have a glass container to create hydrogen. Next.
That was a concern that I actually had. I was like, why isn't this water bottle glass? So I love that you explained that to me. I didn't know that you can't create hydrogen within a glass bottle.
Yeah, because it would crack with the pressure. Second, when you create hydrogen, it also creates a lot of other things, especially if it's done through like technology, because that's called electrolysis. It's using electricity to create hydrogen. And so it creates other things as well. That could be ozone, chlorine gas. If it's a cheaply made device, it could leach heavy metals like mercury, arsenic, and lead. And you don't want to drink that, right? I've had people come up to me in conferences like, oh, I had a bottle and it tastes like chlorine, so I stopped. I'm like, good.
It's supposed to taste like that?
Yeah. It's like, no, it shouldn't taste like anything.
Oh, okay. I'm like, is it supposed to taste like?
No, it shouldn't taste like anything.
When I used to drink the Kangen water, I would get an instant headache. And I would have an instant headache. I always felt like it had mold. Because like the first year that you would get the machine, it was amazing. Yeah. And then a year would go by, and who would come to clean the machine? The sales rep always says that he's going to come and clean it, but I'm like, he never came by. And so I would get a headache and all this stuff. So this one, it takes away the headache.
There's also a lot of studies that have gone to show that alkaline water is not good for you. Plus, you have about 7 different layers of pH inside your body. So
we're going to get some hate on that, huh?
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of hate from that. We're going to get a lot of hate. Like, I don't even like go down the rabbit hole with the Kangen users. But so by the time you drink alkaline water, it's not alkaline when it hits your gut. And then the reason, so before Kangen was all like alkaline water, but now they've switched to hydrogen because those machines are using 26 volts to electrify that water. That's why they can create the 9.5 and all their different ranges.
The 9.5. Mm-hmm. That was the one I used.
And that's what gives a lot of people the headaches. And I've talked to many people that way. And I have a lot of Kangen users that utilize this, but they drink more of the neutral acidic water and they feel amazing. Okay, so this is not only making the therapeutic amounts of hydrogen, but inside the base here is this membrane that really sets it apart from other devices out there. It's an indestructible membrane. It can withstand over 100 degrees Celsius water. So you can properly clean this. You can put boiling water in. You can descale the electrode plates that are in there because a lot, and what I have found, I'm a journalist for Biohack Yourself Media. So I test and vet tons of products on the market. And I break down people's websites as well. Like I love to break things down for people because I don't want people to waste their money.
Yeah.
And so this membrane will never break down. And so you can also properly clean those electrode plates, because everyone's water has different amount of minerals. And just like, when you have like a kettle, you start to see that film in the bottom. It will do the same to this.
Interesting.
So you can properly clean this. And then now we're going to get into the cool juiciness and what really sets this apart, right? So in the base is 8 tiny magnets that are in a ring, and it creates like a toroidal field, like a magnetic field, just like how we go ground ourselves out in the earth, right? It's just structuring and grounding this water as the hydrogen is being made. So just the hydrogen and this alone changes the texture of the water. It's like smooth. It is sexy. And so I would say if you have another hydrogen device in your house, I would try both because you will notice the texture is different. Okay. Then just like how you were giving the blessings to your water, the lid creates frequency programs. That information is then stored in water. Like you said, water holds memory. Mm-hmm. We think of Dr. Emoto, right? And he showed those, the way the words show into the water, or Veda Austin. Have you heard of her before? She does all that. So this has like 3 different frequencies that you can create to put in the water: energy and mood boosting, recovery to boost your immune system, and then LumiVitae, which is the name of the company, means light of life. Like, because we recognize the light is being dimmed inside us. And I already spoke about that. The biophotons, we're not receiving that to light up our body. I love to let people and remind, like, think of yourselves as your battery, your life force. Cancers start to form at negative 15 volts within inside the body, right? So we want to keep that voltage high inside.
Okay.
So when you have the energy, the water, and the magnetism.
And your prayers.
And your prayers, right? Intention is everything too. Because if you're like, oh, it's not going to work for me. No, nothing's going to work for you, because the power of the mind is very strong, right? So if you say, thank you for letting me have this, thank you for this water and for these beautiful things, and allow these frequencies to speak to me and to speak to my cells, to resonate into the way that they're meant to, this puts the physical and the energetic body into states of coherence. And so we see people have these amazing quick results. I've had women, I've been drinking this for 1.5 years. I only drink this, and I'm such a snob. Such a snob.
That's so funny. I love it. I'm a snob with my water.
Well, because again, like, I destroyed the old schnoozer up there. I destroyed her for so many years.
Yeah.
And so I always wake up like chronically stuffy, all these things. The first time I had it, it was like, I was like, what? What is this? Because the inflammation was so bad in there.
No, my partner's like, he is ride or die about this water. He is like, no, now, like, you don't, he's the one that, honestly, he's the one that sold me on it. I think it's natural for us to be like skeptical and especially with technology, but I think the intention part is so key.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say it didn't work. Whatever it is, let's just say the red light didn't work. It's the intention. You are going in with that intention, and that alone is going to provide you with those miracles.
100%. And actually, I'll talk about my parents, for example. You know, I've been in this wellness game for like 9 years. They never, ever wanted to do anything that I suggested. My mom has had rheumatoid arthritis for over 30 years. She would have to go and get infusions. She's even had to get part of her colon resected because of all of the pharmaceuticals she was taking that was destroying her gut. And even like, I worked with a piece of frequency technology before. I was like, Mom, she had relief. She's like, but I don't think it'll work when I get home, right? That type of mindset. And so I was visiting Christmas of 23. I couldn't find her, and she was having a debilitating anxiety attack. Well, inflammation in her body from rheumatoid arthritis causes inflammation in the brain, which causes anxiety.
Wow, so the inflammation, so when people are suffering from inflammation in the body, that ends up coming up to the brain?
Yeah. I mean, if you have inflammation in the body, and if there's inflammation in the brain, that can also be a way of triggering anxiety.
Wow.
And I had just read a study of this. And so I found her, I was like, Mom, what's going on? I'm like, Mom, can you please just try this water? So I gave her the water on the recovery frequencies. She came downstairs in 10 minutes. She's like, I don't know what was in that voodoo water, but I have never had something calm me down so fast. And even before, because I was like, Mom, I need you to go buy me some cases of water. She's like, oh, Colette with her bougie water. She needs to have, who drank all my water all week long? And my family.
So she's a water brat too now.
She didn't put her braces on her hands the whole week. Yeah. And now her and my dad, this is their thing. And they like fight over it. And because they live in Arizona half the year where it's, super dry desert.
Yeah.
And if one leaves and they don't have it, they can tell, My dad has some heart conditions. Well, we've been programmed to think that we're 75% water. Well, we're actually 99.9% fluid. Right? We have our blood, we have our lymphatic system. And so the hydrogen works in the fluidity of the body. So people who have heart conditions as well are having like beautiful success and support within this way because it's going in and going to those actual places.
Yes.
And so for me, I'm quite healthy. And I noticed like the inflammation straight away, but I would say about 3 weeks in, I was like, what's that? What's that smell?
You're smelling.
It was me. I was detoxing heavy.
Wow.
Heavy. So I had to like start adding like some chlorophyll in the morning to like make sure I'm like, I can't go out today.
Wow.
You know,
That's so interesting.
It's subtle. Like it can be very subtle for some people.
Yeah.
Or it could be like really, really big. So I'm so curious to know like how you will start to feel.
I'm so excited.
And
I'm going to
again,
keep you guys posted.
Yeah.
And if any of you guys are interested, I'm going to put the link so that people can go check it out.
Perfect.
And I'm super excited. And you know what I was thinking too? It's like we have a lot of people who want to invest in biohacking. They're like, oh, it's a $38 trillion market. Well, if you want to start with investing in biohacking, start with biohacking yourself. Start with biohacking your psyche. Start with biohacking your body. You are the greatest experiment that you could possibly take on, right?
Yeah.
And if you have the privilege, right? All of you, most of you who are watching, have this incredible privilege to be able to invest in yourself. How beautiful is it that this is like investing in the vibration of water?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who gets to say that?
Yeah.
Like your parents would have loved to do that. I want to ask you too, what is your response to people who have such a hard time investing in biohacking?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would also ask, what else are you investing in, right? Are you going to Starbucks every day? Right? Are you Netflix and chilling all day long? It's like, what can you replace that is filling a void in your life? This is 68 cents a day for 2 years. And then it's paid off, right? And so I always want people to like think of what is it that you're doing that's not really filling your cup. You need to keep that cup filled in other ways, so whether that is you choosing to go on a walk after dinner every night, or you getting up, writing in your gratitude journal every day, even the smallest things can really make that huge shift in your life. So if you do choose to invest in a technology or something like that, I always have my clients start to journal. Because it is the small, look, I get goosebumps. I get goosebumps because it's the smallest things that could make the biggest shift, right? Or it's like, hey, wait, my kids really weren't annoying the shit out of me this week. I had more patience, right? Something so little like that. But also like, because I work with a lot of moms. And so it's like this is something the entire family can use. And so then maybe you see a difference in the way your kids behave. They're focused more, right? Are you
seeing that a lot with kids, like that are drinking from this water?
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen with you have 2 kids?
I have 2 kids. So my son especially has terrible seasonal allergies in the spring when all the palms start to bloom. And being the holistic mama I am, I don't do
Biohacking mama.
I don't do any like Zyrtex or stuff like that. And like to the point he has like vampire eyes, like really open, all these things. And so this year he drank 2 of those in the morning, and I would flush his eyes with it. We would like put it like his eyes in a bowl all day long. He comes back totally fine. First year out of all the years of school, I wasn't getting called to bring him home because I wouldn't give him medicines. My daughter as well has allergies to dogs. She doesn't have allergies to dogs anymore. Children actually have a much higher histamine reaction nowadays compared to when you and I were children, because there's so many more things that are influenced to be put into their body at young ages from doctors. And so, I always suggest to parents, you make your choices. Make your choices for what you're going to do. There's ways to move those things out of people's bodies, right? And support them in other ways. So like the kids are super receptive to this.
I know, it's so much fun. Speaking of that wink that you gave me, this is something that I recently noticed. And for those of you guys that are watching that are biohackers or that are healers, holistic practitioners, do you see that you're getting shadow banned?
I think the social media is a very weird world right now. I did lose my Facebook for 3 weeks, and they said it was for cybersecurity. And do you want to know, after I finally got it back, after me yelling at my phone and Meta, thank goodness I had the blue check on Instagram, because that saved me to be able to talk to Meta. If you can't talk to Meta, SOL. And so I got it back. And what was flagged for cybersecurity, I made a post saying women had been lied to, that they're not allowed to make as much money as men. So I don't know if someone flagged it or something like that, but it was something triggering that, because I want to encourage women to be wealthy within themselves, to find their power, to find their voices, right? We've been told we can't do so many things for so long. Or a lot of times, like, I work with moms or wives that they don't have that supportive role.
Yeah.
Or on this side. And time is done. We're like, fuck that shit. No, I'm sorry. Do we allowed to swear on this? I've been swearing the whole time.
Yeah.
And and so it's like, we are in this day and age, women are on the rise. And that's what I love about this company. It's female founded, female invested.
And most of the other ones are male.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we are here for the women. We are here to help them rise. And so I don't know if I triggered someone within that way. I mean, I do talk about some controversial things, but not so much. Like, that's not my mission. My mission is to empower women. My mission is to, maybe give you guys some insights into things you've never thought about before, or hear about some cool ass shit, or, stuff like that. Sometimes I might throw a little bit of some politics here or there, and then I'm like, why did I do that?
I know.
And sometimes you can't, and so, but I've actually been making a really big effort, because Facebook's a weird thing right now. Have you ever noticed that? Like, on your homepage, half of it's like, what is this? How did this even get here? And it's like X, because I'm like, where's the people?
You're talking about Facebook, right?
Yeah. I'm like, where's the people?
Well, I go on Facebook every once in a while. I get led into Facebook because of Marketplace. Like, I'm always looking for something that I don't need, right? To add more things into the house, right?
Tchotchkes, yes.
Yeah.
All the cool vintage things.
All the cool vintage things, all the cool wooden furniture. Yeah. You got me sold on the Indian wood furniture. I'm gonna buy it. I need that, right? I don't know where to put it, but I need it, right?
I've had a vintage bassinet, wicker bassinet, since my daughter was born, and my husband's like, "Can we get rid of this, please?" And I'm like, "But it's vintage," and like, he's like, "Get it out of the house."
It sounds beautiful. I want to see
you want
it. You send me a picture
for your dog to see.
My future dog, my future baby. It sounds beautiful. Yeah. We'll put a picture in it so you guys can see if you guys are interested in buying the bassinet. I'm so serious. We'll put it in the podcast.
Oh,
Okay. But no, and so I get led into there because of Marketplace. And every time I go in, I'm just like, who is this? Yeah. I don't know who this is. I'm so disappointed in you, whoever you are. Yeah. I'm so disappointed by your ignorance. Like, it's like my Uncle Joe from Ohio is like, I don't even know. I don't even have an Uncle Joe in Ohio. I'm Colombian. You know what I'm saying? Like, but somehow I have an Uncle Joe in there.
Yeah. Or it's about, like the whole Diddy thing, or all of the stars and all of their weird
stuff
things. And I'm just like, what? Don't get sucked in. Like, don't get sucked in. Like, and I'm like, all kid, like, oh no, X
or
out.
I came in here just to like build an ad, and I'm like, wait, how did this happen? Like, why am I getting sucked into this? I'm 2 hours late. Or you know what happens to me when I go on Facebook? So it's either the Uncle Joe in Ohio writing like the most ignorant thing ever, an ex-client of mine that it's like, oh, I'm so happy you're not my client anymore.
Yeah.
Or that high school girl that had a million kids, that God bless her. And then I go down her rabbit hole where I'm like, I'm just sending her prayers. Like, I just hope hope all is well. Like, you're just like, oh my gosh, she lives in the middle of Kentucky now. And like
her kids are already graduating high school. I'm like, dang.
I'm like, it's true. She did have a baby when we were in high school. It's so true. Oh wait, no, she got married when we were in middle school. What? Like, it's the weirdest thing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. So let's get back to the podcast, guys. We just went on a little rant there. Last question before we end. This is a question I ask every single person that comes on the podcast. Okay. What does it mean to you, the biohacking mama, to be rich in soul?
That is so, I mean, for me, am I waking up feeling fulfilled every day, right? Am I waking up to my true mission? Am I waking up happy in this day of who do I get to touch, right? I've worked so hard on healing myself, raising my own heart coherence. Like, I don't mean to like toot my horn, but it's like, I know I'm magnetic now. I know what I have done, and I want other women to become magnetic. And so for me, that is my joy every single day. I see things in women and I want to bring that out of them. And so if I get to do that and I get to wake up and speak to at least one woman a day, I am rich. I am so rich. Mm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Isn't it the best? Like, like I was just, I stayed thinking about what I just said about the ex-client, that I'm so happy he's not my client anymore. And it's because I'm so happy that I get to help people who want to do and give more to the planet. You know, it's truly the thing that makes us so rich. It really is. Or like being able to talk to a mom that's like, you know, wanting to heal from, you know, postpartum, or, you know, and I think that's a really cool thing about biohacking is like, you don't have to spend so much time. Like that's the hack, right? It's like that. It's like the intention, right? Using the ancient modalities and using what scientists have discovered now. This is actually something that I struggled with too and I still actually struggle with in my business, right? Because I use a lot of the healing modalities and I use a lot of progressive things, right? I'm essentially a biohacker healer, right? Where I'm taking all these things that have worked for the more traditional healers, and then I'm saying, I'm coming in and kind of disrupting it and saying, hey, yes, that worked and the traditional ways worked, but we've progressed, right? And it's almost like when you think about Jesus, right? Let's just use Jesus as an example, okay? You don't think that, what if Jesus was alive with us right now? What would he do? He would be a lead biohacker, you know?
Well, I mean, wasn't he already doing something like that? I mean, aren't we going to talk about like, I don't know, we're going to go on a whole nother like rampage about Jesus doing plant medicine. I don't know.
Tell me. Yeah.
I mean, and I grew up super Christian. Like that's what I grew up to believe. But like now I'm like, I go down all those types of rabbit holes of like,
go for it. Just go for it. Just go for it.
You know, because like they say like he was like drinking of like plant medicine of some sort like that. And I'm like, so was he just really like raving in that tomb for 3 days? What was he doing in there?
I mean, I
don't mean like blasphemy to like, I believe in God in the spirit of what he's done.
Yes.
But
I mean,
we don't ever know. The Bible's been rewritten by a man over and over and over again. So what's the truth?
So what's the truth? The truth is not in a book. No. The truth is in the book that exists within all of us.
Exactly.
We all have a book. We all have truth and we all have a gift. Yeah. And that's the beauty.
We're definitely going to get some hate about this conversation.
I know. Trust me. All these podcast episodes, I've gained a brand new amount of incredible people and I've lost so many. Yeah. Because, you know, it's interesting. I listen to a Christian service. I go every once in a while to a Christian church. And it's so funny. It's like my friend will be like, you know, you're not really like, they're not really too happy you're here, you know? I'm like, why? I'm like, what do you mean? Like spreading the good word. Like, I'm all about, you know, I'll go into a synagogue. Like I'll go anywhere where they are sharing the good word. I know. Yeah. But it's okay. You know, I guess if I'm going to hell, I'm going to hell. But
I mean, we believe and we know. And, you know, now we recognize that he is everywhere and he's in everything. And you can receive that from so many different ways. And I think that the dogma of the Christian church it's not for everyone anymore. And I think that we've grown from that. And that we have found that there's so many different ways to find God.
Yes. Amen. Aho.
Namaste.
I loved talking to you. You are such a joy. You are an encyclopedia of information. And I love it. Right? You. And that's what we're doing. That's what I was telling someone during our first podcast. I was telling someone, one of the guests, I said, what you're doing is that we're keeping records. Yeah. Right? And that's the beauty of video. That's the beauty of social media without AI, right? But we're record keeping we're recording what you said, right? You're keeping documentation of the things that you've done, the legacy that you're leaving behind, and it can't be disrupted.
Yeah.
This cannot be disrupted. And that's what we want to protect, the good information, the good word, and even if it's just your children. And that's why it's so powerful for people to go online and to share their message and, trust that you have a personal brand. You don't need to be the leader. You don't need to be no, but keep record of your information.
That's right.
So thank you so much for being here. I had so much fun. I know this will be the first of many. And I was telling you earlier, I want to do like a water blessing event.
Yes.
Where we can talk about the advancement of that we can now infuse technology into it. And yes, the ancient modal, the ancient way of water blessing is amazing. Actually, we're doing a water blessing event this weekend, but I don't know if I told you that, but that's literally what the activity is. But that's another subject. Well, you guys can meet us after for another Q&A.
Yes.
But thank you so much, my love. And may your business flourish. May you continue to help so many people on this path.
Thank you so very much. I feel so honored to be able to share this with you. And yes, I definitely can't wait to continue. It's like you said, we can just keep rambling on over here.
I know, but I know Johnny's out there. Okay, cut.
Yeah.
Bye.